First set of questions, DM, if you could.
No, thank you very much, Chair. I think largely the questions are for the board, for the board to respond. Suffice it to say, Chairperson, that at that SCOPA meeting, we, for the purposes of clarity, the SIU has not briefed the ministry on its matters. And that meeting is scheduled to take place next week, Wednesday. And we will get an update on the part of the SIU. Honorable Gupega makes the
we just can't sign
comment around the suspended CEO not being guilty of anything. That remains the understanding of the ministry, that the special leave, amongst others, was to give space and time for the suspended CEO now, was not suspended at that point, to engage with the processes of the SIU. So I reiterate what I said in that committee meeting, in this committee's meeting, and in the statement that we released as a department after having been informed of this decision. The only expectation that we have is that if there's an SIU process underway, all affected parties or all those who will have to present information or present themselves to the SIU should do so in order to ensure that the processes run their logical course. And then lastly is to indicate that rightly or wrongly, this issue is not without precedence in this parliament generally, in that and in the SIU operations as I understand them, that a preliminary report of the SIU has been used before and can be used for the purposes of onward use by other bodies, including but not limited to law enforcement agencies, to then investigate on the basis of that report. So it's not without precedence, but I'm not privy, Chair, to the content of the SIU report and when or briefing, but at the point at which I received that report and briefing next week, Wednesday, I'll be in a better and stronger position to actually know what is going on. And so I think that because Honorable Gupega, having been in the SCOPA meeting, I think he also then places another issue on the table, and for me to clarify that as far as the ministry is concerned, there is no basis to the claim that the suspended CEO was being suspended, on the basis that, one, I was informed by the chairperson of the portfolio of the standing committee that he is in receipt of a letter from the suspended CEO that he would drafted by his legal representatives, and I'm sure you can share records that he would not be attending the committee meeting. It is, amongst others, one of the reasons why, one, I said the board must attend the meeting, because I do not agree with the position that the board took, and I stated that up front. It was wrong for the board to take a decision to say that they would not be attending SCOPA. But they subsequently rescinded that decision to attend SCOPA. And I'm advised that the suspended CEO, through his legal representatives, had said that he would not be attending. So it is up to the board then to give you the full and nuanced details of the processes of that meeting. And I think, Chair, for the purposes of the record on the because SCOPA had a deadline upon which it had wanted to actually get a report and a presentation, is that I wrote to the board on the 23rd of May, wherein I said that RAF is hereby directed to honor the SCOPA invitation to appear before the committee on Wednesday, 28 May 2025, and in that meeting ventilate the matters that you raise in your letter. And the response I received from the chairperson of the board is that, having interacted with SCOPA and the SIO, the board had resolved that they would now be attending the SCOPA meeting. So I stand by the response, therefore, for the purposes of clarity, that I gave at the SCOPA meeting, that I do not believe that the CEO was being silenced if Parliament was in receipt of a letter saying that he would not be attending the meeting. And then is to also then indicate that my understanding was that this decision was taken in a board meeting which commenced at 8:30 or thereabout in the morning on the day upon which the special leave was granted. And therefore I do not believe, Chairperson, that we can be associated with silencing, because the decisions would have been communicated through the day. So in the event that there's any ambiguity, the basis upon which I made the claim and comment I made in SCOPA is that one, that that's the information that we had. And up to now, it has not been revised, and therefore I still stand by what I said. Thank you.
You can pass the bite. You can pass the bite.
Thank you very much, honorable members. I will deal with questions that were directed to the board. The rest of the questions, which are mostly operational, the acting CEO will deal with. I think the first one is about the chief claims officer position. Oh, okay. No, the first one is about the vacancy rate. What was the board's position when they signed the previous annual report? Let me be on record to state that the board has been on a continuous basis raising this matter of the high vacancy rate, particularly the critical positions, the executive and senior manager positions. And we even directed the subcommittee of the board, REMCO, to actually prioritize this matter. We were told that most of the key positions are in progress, and we are aware of that because the chair of REMCO was part of that. At one stage, I was also part of the panels that started dealing with the recruitment of executives. But because of the nature of the RAF, there's a whole lot of risks around people, attracting people, critical people or experienced people into the RAF. So there were a lot of challenges in attracting the people who were competent to fill these positions. But the other problem that was given to us was the Section 189 dispute with the unions. If we recall correctly, in the past, as part of the 5-year turnaround strategy, the RAF implemented, it reviewed its organizational structure and then started implementing when it was approved. Then there was a dispute between the labor in terms of some of the conditions affecting their members in the implementation of that structure, emanating from Section 189. So the implementation of the structure was actually placed on hold pending those disputes being handled in the various labor fronts, as well as just to try and resolve that matter. So those were the main reasons why those issues were not fast-tracked, but the board was on record to actually say that we need to get them out of the way. So currently, we've given them at least 4 months to ensure that all the critical executive vacancies will be filled. So we should come back and be able to give some responses, because we said in positions that have already been out in terms of the recruitment process and we failed to actually attract the right candidates, we need to go out and headhunt, and that will fast track the process. So hopefully that will fast track the process. And then the issue around the chief claims officer position, again, these risks that are raised by the honourable member were raised. We are on record of raising those issues around segregation of duty, as well as the fact that if you are a CEO and you are acting in a position that reports to you, so if there's a dispute or an issue, who actually presides in terms of clearing that matter? Those questions were asked. And the reasons we were given to us by the CEO was, first of all, that he was the only person who had the correct competence because of the RAF being a very complex organization. Remember that that position requires somebody with a legal mind as well as a medical experience. So the answers we used to receive in the boardroom was that currently he's the only one doing that, but we were aware that there were processes, that were ongoing in terms of filling that position. But the challenge is that they couldn't get the right candidate to actually deal with it. But currently, the position is now temporarily being occupied by one of the regional managers, because you have people within the regions who actually process claims in their managerial functions, and they should basically be able to assume this position, because also you need to ensure that you expose other managers in acting in senior positions. So right now we have one of the regional managers caretaking that position. Hopefully then they will fast track the filling of vacancies, again using the possibility of going out there in the market and start headhunting. I think the last question around the board. Did we approve of him acting in that vacancy? No, it was never put before us to approve that. Like I've just said, that we had concerns around that. I think the chief internal auditor will also talk to us, because we were given assurances that there are checks and balances in ensuring that nothing gets irregular is actually happening in that environment, and that the auditors, the processes gets audited on an annual basis. And then lastly, regarding I think the question was answered in terms of the board decision around the AXA matter. I think it has been deliberated on a number of occasions. But the actual legal firm that was appointed, I think that became, the ambit, fell within the ambit of the CEO and the executives. However, the board is currently going to a process of reviewing looking at other options that would actually assist it to get out of, court in a very technical manner, because the issue around this is that the technical dispute remains in terms of the fact that we don't have a relevant social benefit standard in which the organization can use in accounting for its claims liability as well as the associated expenditure. So the board is going through that, but we were given 21 days to actually do a risk assessment as well as an impact analysis if we basically go out of court and find other amicable ways to resolve the problem. So we should be able to come back and give direction after 21 days, because the ministry, and we appreciate that, is willing to work with us in terms of progressive decision making in terms of coming out of that once we've done a proper risk assessment and impact analysis, because there's going to be very serious impacts on the business of RAF, because there are other legal implications around that decision. I think, Chair, I've answered all the questions relating to the board. I'll allow Mr. Lukwareni to answer the rest.
Thanks, Chair. I think the Chair also answered a few questions around vacancies. I think I'll just pick those that I think needs more emphasis. I think the first one, Honorable Kubeka asks about the impact of the discovery versus the RAF matter. It's a huge matter for the RAF, for the sustainability of the RAF, not only from a medical claims perspective, Honorable Kubeka, but because I think this is the judgment that affirmed that the RAF is not an insurer. So it's very significant in that manner. Although we have not quantified the specific claims that might ensue from discovery specifically, this is bigger than discovery. That there are also other medical aids that is the avalanche that will be opened around medical aid schemes that will also come and seek this reimbursement. So this is a huge judgment for the sustainability of the RAF going forward. So I think that context is important. Of course, one cannot really comment further around whether that then amounts to the victimization or whatever thereof around the firms that you have indicated in question, but it's a huge matter for the RAF. In terms of the Johannesburg building, indeed it's owned by Moana, as indicated there, which is essentially a GEPF owned building, and I think that's how the lease agreement was signed. It's with in that manner. I think that's clear. The other issues related to, I think there are other questions, I think, from Honorable Mabena that were also I think addressed by the Chair. As we have indicated, there are only 3 in the main vacant positions at the EXCO level, and I think we must add that on the Chief Claims Officer, there was a real challenge in that space that resulted in the whole EXCO going into the regions to intervene to an extent that the CEO saw it fit to take full responsibility for that position because of the risks that emanated. It was a crisis that was there at the time because of the issues that had to be dealt with at the time, and I think it was always meant to be a temporary intervention because, as we have indicated, the position, there was a lot of work done to try and fill that position that which attempts failed. And of course, we can confirm that there is someone who's acting in that position at the moment. Yeah, I'll talk to it. Now, the other questions, I think, I think Honorable Kobe also speaks about the issues of the acting of the Chief Claims Officer. I think I've spoken to that. The CIO position and the vettings that is done. I think we have explained this issue around background screening that is done, which was also done even in this case. reference checks were obtained even from the city of Johannesburg. So vetting is a more of a comprehensive process, of course, that takes place where we all subsequently submitted our vetting forms to the State Security Agency, which are still being processed even at this point in time. Now, of course, yeah, we don't brief Gert Nel, attorneys. I know Gert Nel is sitting behind your honorable self. He's a plaintiff attorney. Of course, he does plaintiff work, and he's one of the firms that get the. I think it's one of the top 2 firms. I think we presented in the past in terms of the payments that get dispersed from the fund, but not as a corporate member of the panel. Now, I think the questions around from Honorable Maduna around the issues of the Johannesburg lease, I think I'll ask the CFO to speak to that in terms of the specifics. I think, yeah, Bernice.
Apologies, Chair. If the acting CEO can complete his responses and inform the committee, because I just feel like transparency and divulging all information helps. What is the status of Mr. Muteba at RAF? Because you speak of background checks, can we please just say everything?
DM, thanks for that intervention. You're going to have to be helpful, and you are not going to have to expect your senior to intervene for you to answer questions. That's clear, right? Now, you can't be, you can't apply austerity measures to answers. You're going to have to be as open as it can be possible so that we do not have a lot of follow-ups in terms of questions. So where you have been asked a question, please, as the DM is saying, just flow and answer the questions as you understood it to be asked, not to want to be, economic with answers. Sure.
No, thanks for the clarity. Like I said, I understood it to be about the security screening, but the subsequent events around the CIO is that he has been placed on suspension as per the also resolution of the board. I think is currently on suspension.
With effect from?
With effect from yesterday.
Yeah, you see.
Listen,
Yeah.
you see, my apologies.
Yes.
Can we put things in their context? At a SCOPA meeting, SCOPA advised the board of RAF and the executives that it was in receipt of a letter from the city of Johannesburg indicating that Mr. Muteba had resigned on the eve of the conclusion of a disciplinary process. But the information and the letter which came from Mr. Muteba's letters said other things. Now, I do not understand why we would want to skirt over that matter, because it's substantive to the issues which are giving this follow-up meeting. And Chair, I want to say this to yourselves. It's the last time I'm going to intervene. But I hope this gives you a glimpse of what we are dealing with. You can't be speaking about vetting in your response and place it as substantively as that, but don't add the latest developments in their context that you are in risk, unless the board went and did something different on the basis of that suspension.
Yeah.
So this is, colleagues, the extent to which the problems at RAF are. So I'm asking, Chair, that they explain to you so that you don't come back now when something else arises. What's the status of this? Just put it out there. It's not a secret. It's an issue of governance. It's an issue of accountability.
No, DM, it's good that it is coming from yourself, that you are picking what is happening. Acting CEO, what you're doing is wrong. And it borders on being secretive to a committee of parliament. And I don't think we're taking that in kind. And I think it will be for the last time, not only to you, but also to your colleagues. We're not here to play. It's about just after 9 now. And we're not going to be sitting here listening to you, bluffing to us, telling us things not in context, when you actually know what is the context. I ask you, what is that context that you need to give because the DM has intervened? You still, even in the eyes of the DM, still want to hide other things. And I'm seeing Honorable Kobe still continuously raising a hand from there. I plead with you, please answer the question so that we don't have to take follow-ups. You still want to sweep certain things under the carpet. Why are you doing that? Don't answer that why. Just proceed and give answers.
Yeah, Chair, thanks. My apologies, Chair, if I may come across...
You are exhausting your daily limits of apologies.
Yeah, as I've indicated that in the matter of the CIO, indeed a board resolution was taken where and pronounced at the portfolio committee. And I think in the meeting yesterday, I did indicate that that particular decision.
Announced to which portfolio?
I'm saying the last portfolio committee. I think the board, when the board presented, they indicated that one of the decisions that were taken was that of the suspension of the CIO, acting CIO. And I indicated again in the meeting that we had with the DM yesterday that I could not just, without applying my mind, because I needed to be the one that signs the suspension letter of the CIO, I needed to apply myself. And after having applied myself, I eventually signed the suspension letter of the CIO, acting CIO. So I think that is...
Hold it there. What do you mean? You want to tell me that what you are saying is that the board pronounced suspension to us when you have not signed the letter? Is that what you are saying? Us?
Correct.
DM?
Chairperson, I would want to believe that the governance shortfalls in RAF are coming to bear, because the issue around the CIO has been a subject of discussion in those COPA meetings. And then my understanding, and the board is here, was they received a response from the city of Johannesburg on this matter. And as I said, we had a meeting yesterday. And up until yesterday, a board decision had not been implemented that the board had pronounced on, insofar as this individual is concerned. So I think, Chair, it is for the board to give you the sequence of events around it. But I would imagine that it's central to accounting to the committee, unless maybe ebunganeni bami ngibona kafishane But we are here because there's a suspension that is a subject of discussion. Following that, there's another suspension of the Chief Investment Officer. I would imagine that any response is supposed to be very frank and forthright about that. So that is, if ultimately, Chair, just my misgiving. Can I ask
thanks,
the
Tim.
board
I want to come there.
to explain its
Maybe
due process?
let me ask this in a particular context. The acting chair of the board was there. You are the one who pronounced this issue of the suspension. The chair of the board, obviously, you apologize, so we accepted your apology. Would then imagine that she was acting on your behalf. So the two of you can assist us here. Because this borders on whether we must continue to listen to you tonight, or we must agree that you must go home and pronounce on you. Because if you can come and lie to us literally, and it's the DM who must then, we don't do that, Kwamba, please. And you have the audacity to come, even want to sweep issues under the floor to the extent that you want the DM to be the one intervening. It speaks to your failure in terms of fiduciary duties. Now tell me here, according to understanding, when does a suspension take effect to a person?
Chair, thank you so much. You are correct. We had a board meeting. It was on the 2nd of June. And we had a whole lot of legal advice that followed specifically on that day. One of the decisions that were taken was the suspension of the CIO, and mainly because we had full evidence of why we needed to suspend him.
Deputy Chair.
If I can mention that.
Deputy Chair, I don't want you to give background. I think we're enough with your background.
Maybe the answer is the 3rd of June. On the 2nd of June, we made that decision, and essentially, it doesn't lie within the board. In terms of delegation, that matter goes straight to him as the acting CIO to effect the acting CEO to effect the decision. So even if we've made the decision, the delegation to implement does not lie with the board. It lies with the acting CEO.
So you said with us, told us in confidence, and if we were to go to the public, said that the CIO is suspended, when actually he is not. Is it he or she?
It's a he. It's a he.
When he is not suspended.
Chair, the board made the decision and communicated that decision to the acting CEO. Please understand that the board cannot effect it. It needs to give it back to the acting CEO. And I mean, on the day when we made that, we made him aware of that. So we just can't sign his letter. Delegation lies with him.
Can you answer me here, ma'am?
Yes.
When you came before us,
we had already communicated that.
Can I ask you, can you stop interfering with me when I ask you questions? You are going to have to be respectful here. We are not playing here. When you came before us that you have suspended the CIO, did you have the copy of the letter of suspension?
Chair, I must just verify that. Yes, I do know that we had already given him
I'm saying, did you have the copy of suspension from the CEO? The acting CEO suspending the CIO.
The copy of the letter was issued after we've had the resolution. That letter was also given him. It was forwarded to him so that he could sign. So that letter was available.
I'm saying, did you have a signed copy that Donald Slamlela is suspended?
I can't sign it. It must be signed by him.
Who says you must sign the letter? Do you listen to what I'm asking? I'm asking you. Did you have the copy signed by the delegated authority in this regard?
Okay. No.
Can you not disrupt when I ask, ma'am? Okay. Can you switch that mic? Can you learn to be respectful, please? I'm asking you. You are sitting in a committee of parliament, in a meeting that is viewed by the people of South Africa. You tell the people of South Africa that you, as the deputy chair of the board, acting obviously on behalf of the chair and your board, you are communicating to us that you have suspended the CIO. When you do not have a proof that that decision has been effected, what is your take on that?
Chair, I take it that the signed letter, I didn't have it in front of me. That is correct.
So you would agree that you misled us?
Chair, if it's seen as a mislead, I want to apologize. That was not the intent.
Seen by who? Do you
Okay,
agree that
Chair,
you misled us?
I want to apologize.
Do you agree that you misled us?
Chair, let me say to you, I didn't necessarily see it in that way, but what is proof? What the proof of the meeting is that we didn't have the signed letter at the time when we informed you.
Do you agree that you misled the Committee of Parliament by telling them that you have suspended someone who has not even received that particular letter?
Chair, I accept.
Okay. Eish.
Did you say I accept? It was not intentional because I couldn't act on it myself. So I want to say I accept, but it was not intentional.
Suspension letter.
I signed it yesterday.
Is your matter, Honorable Kwabis? You want to say something?
Chair, I think I'm.
No. You are still coming. You have your set. You are coming.
Chair, I think we are witnessing in real time a pattern of the board of doing things a day before we come to the committee, things that have high legal implications. They have misled the board, they misled Scopa, and now every other slide on that presentation says the matter is under sub judice because they were unable to tell us the truth. In their back and forth, they say Mr. Letswalo was insubordinate. He refused, point blank.
I think you are getting to the discussion now. Let me ask this last question so that to proceed with your questions. Colleagues, you still have your own time. I've
Chair.
Honorable Ko.
Sorry.
What is your intention about the acting CEO? Because that is an act of insubordination. Did you reflect on that particular matter? Chair,
From my side, I only had it yesterday when we were at the DM's office that he only signed the letter yesterday. So that's really what we sort of got to know. I didn't know that he had not signed up to then. So that's just my honest answer. I only knew yesterday. I thought he had already signed it.
Did you reflect on that matter yesterday when you were with DM, when you learned?
Yeah.
Between yesterday and now, what is the decision you have taken about that particular act which resulted in you misleading a competent committee of parliament?
Chair, I will say we have to take it back to board. I can't make a decision myself. The board was there.
The question is, did you as a board, because you got that information yesterday as in the meeting of the board and probably once again by the intervention of the DM, by the time you get that information, did you reflect about that particular matter, about the conduct of the acting CEO?
Chair, I think we each reflected, but we have not met as a board to make a decision. I think we did reflect, but we do need to meet as a board and make a pronouncement on that conduct.
I hope you'll still have that time. Yeah, proceed with questions through your DM. Sorry for those
Thank you, Chair. I
interventions.
think we were at a point where the audit committee was going to provide a response on issues that had been raised. I think that was the last segment that